We've all been there, right? You kick off a project that feels like it's going to be amazing, but then you watch it get totally bogged down in endless revisions, confusion, and delays. Well, today, we're going to crack the code on the one document that turns all that creative chaos into crystal clarity. Let's dive into the blueprint that separates the projects that soar from the ones that sink. First things first, we have to talk about a problem that I know we've all faced. It's that awful, sinking feeling in your gut when a project starts to go completely off the rails. So why does this happen? Why do so many great creative projects just fall apart? I mean, it is so frustrating. You've got a fantastic idea, a talented team, but somehow it all just unravels. And you know what? The reasons are almost always the same old suspects. Exhibit, miscommunication. This is usually where it all starts. The team is basically drowning in a sea of unknown details because there's no central source of truth. Key info gets lost, people make assumptions, and suddenly everyone's working from a completely different playbook. This is the absolute root of all confusion. And that confusion, it hits the wallet hard. Next thing you know, you're dealing with blown budgets. Because when nobody's on the same page, you get that dreaded scope creep. Every little change, every new idea, it all adds up. And before you know it, your budget is completely gone. And of course, the final nail in the coffin, missed deadlines. Without a firm delivery date anchoring the whole project, the sense of urgency just disappears. Planning becomes impossible, and all that initial excitement and energy just fizzles out into wasted time. Okay, so that's the nightmare scenario. But what if I told you there's a way to prevent all of that before the project even begins? And no, it's not some fancy, expensive new software. It's a simple but incredibly powerful document, the creative brief. And it's the secret weapon of the best in the business. So what is it exactly? Just think of the creative brief as your project's North Star. It's that one single document that everyone agrees on. It lays out everything. The goals, the audience, the message, the whole shebang. It is the ultimate tool for getting your team aligned. And this image pretty much sums it up perfectly. On the left, that's a project without a brief, a tangled, confusing, chaotic mess. But on the right, that's a project with a brief. It's a clean, structured blueprint for success. It transforms chaos into clarity. And look, don't just take my word for it. The absolute legends of the industry live and die by this stuff. Check out this brief from the iconic agency Ogilvy and Mather. See how they zero in on the promise? They're not just making an ad, they are making a core promise to the customer. That's strategy. It's the same deal over at J. Walter Thompson. Their whole brief hinges on one simple question. What do we want people to do? It's all about action, about changing behavior. It's a total shift from thinking about what the company wants to what the customer will actually do. So smart. And DDB Needham boils it down even further with their famous system built on just 5 basic questions. For these giants, the brief isn't just paperwork. It's the beating heart of the entire creative process. Okay, so you see these fancy agency briefs and you might be thinking, wow, this seems really complicated. But it's not. I promise. A truly world-class brief boils down to 3 simple, powerful pillars: the why, the who, and the what. That's it. Let's break them down. First up, pillar 1, the why. This is without a doubt the most critical question. Before you write a single word or design a single pixel, you have to know why you are doing this project in the first place. And nope, to boost sales just isn't a good enough answer. We have to get way more specific. And the best way to do that is to make sure your objectives are SMART. You've probably heard of this acronym, but it is so crucial. Your goal has to be specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-bound. This simple framework forces you to get concrete and clear. So you need to really sit down and ask these questions. What is the one key objective here? Are you trying to build awareness, or drive consideration, or get a purchase? What actual problem are you solving for your customer? Nail this down, and you get everyone in the boat rowing in the exact same direction. Okay, once you've got your why, it's time for pillar 2, the who. This is so important because a message that's aimed at everyone ends up resonating with no one. You have to get laser focused on exactly who you're talking to. And I'm not just talking about demographics like age and income. That's just surface level stuff. We need to go deeper into psychographics. What do they value? What are their interests? What keeps them up at night? Answering that is how you craft a message that creates a real emotional connection. And knowing who you're talking to also means understanding who else is trying to get their attention. You've got your primary competitors, the really obvious ones. But don't forget about secondary competitors. They might not sell the exact same thing, but they are still competing for your audience's time and money.
All right, we've got our why, we've got our who. This brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, pillar 3, the what. You know your mission, you know your audience. So now, what is the single most important thing you need to say to them?
You have seconds, literally seconds, to grab someone's attention. So you need to distill your message down to its absolute essence. Try to get it into 7 words or less. You also have to define your tone of voice. And maybe most importantly, you need a clear, direct call to action. Tell people exactly what you want them to do next.
I absolutely love this quote from Larry Litwin because it says it all. If you don't have a clear call to action, you are just making noise. Every single piece of creative has to guide the audience toward a specific next step. Period.
So you see, when you put these 3 pillars together, the why, the who, and the what, you're not just filling out some boring form. You are literally creating the blueprint for brilliance. And the payoff for doing this work up front is immense. First and foremost, a great brief guarantees clarity. And when you have clarity, you save a massive amount of time and money by avoiding those soul-crushing revision cycles, which in turn enhances productivity because a focused team is an effective team. These aren't just small benefits, they are absolute game changers. So the next time you kick off a project, don't start with the creative, start with the clarity. Because the path from a good idea to a brilliant result is always paved with one simple, powerful document. So the only question left is, what's going to be in yours?